O in now. And it is episode 227. It is, the new year, new us, January 5th, 2020, but not really new year, new us. It's Anthony Merville still in Cleveland. That will change soon, hopefully. I may be a wandering man. We'll talk about this
Oh
later.
yeah?
Yeah, I might be doing like a residency in Vegas for a month, because it would.
Shut up!
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, dude. Because I thought about it for a while. I was just like, I don't need any of the stuff I own. All I really need is
Oh
my
my god.
couch. All I really need is my
If you
couch and
go
my
there for a
TV.
month, that would be so rad.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find like a Airbnb sometime in like March or April just to chill
You son
at.
of a bitch. How dare you wait until we're on the fucking air
I
live for you to drop this bomb on my head?
It was better that way. But so that's new things.
Vegas bomb.
Vegas bomb. That's one thing that may happen. Another thing that may happen is that Mr. Darren Branch may or may not be competing in an upcoming grappling event soon. We don't want to announce it just yet because we don't know for sure. We don't want to
We
bust
don't.
our load too early. So that's what's going on. So Darren, on this lovely
Yes.
morning, afternoon for you, how are you doing?
Bro, I am fan fucking tastic. I just had a weekend filled of what I would describe as religious experiences
Mhm.
because this past weekend was Wrestle Kingdom 14, live from Japan, live from the Tokyo Dome, pro wrestling.
Mm,
And I got to watch that in my bed while eating Twinkies
nice.
and smoking joints, and it was spectacular.
Nice.
It was a wonderful event, and it just inspired me again, like to get into a wrestling ring and start moving around and get back to doing some pro wrestling, and which always like starts a spiral, right? Just inspiration spirals. So then you're like, and then I'm gonna fucking train jujitsu in the mornings. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm gonna lift. Then
Yeah.
I'm gonna do jujitsu.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking get my shit together.
It's fun.
So yeah, so that's what I'm on right now. So yeah, I'm feeling fantastic. Woke up this morning,
Refreshed.
started to feel normal because when you when you pattern your entire sleeping pattern
Mm-hmm.
after the fact that you need to be awake from the hours of like 1 a.m. to 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
it fucks up your life a little bit, fucks up your day.
Yeah.
And this morning I woke up around 10, and that made me feel like I was getting back toward normal hours. Like I'm getting back toward being a regular human being. So like tomorrow I'll wake up at 8 and go train, and hopefully everything is slick.
All right.
But yeah,
That's awesome.
things in the desert are good.
Good.
It was fucking chilly here for a long time, and now it's better.
I heard. People told
Yeah,
me
dude.
that it's cold. It's freezing. They're like, I didn't bring a coat with me. I was like, you should have.
You can get fucked up out here.
Yeah.
I was not aware.
Yeah.
When people say it gets cold, when you're from Ohio, you're from anywhere in the Midwest, it sounds disingenuous. It sounds like, oh, it gets fucking cold.
Yeah.
But everything is relative, right?
Right.
So, like, if you're used to it being 70, like, on a nice day,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then it's like 50, it's not that cold. But when you're used to it being 95 and then it's 50, you're like, fuck, it's a little chilly
It's
out.
cold.
And when it's 35,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, it's fucking cold.
I mean, you basically half your land is glass. Like you live on glass. And like that's just how it is. Like glass when glass is hot or sand, it gets really hot. It hurts. But then when glass is cold, it's really cold. You feel it. Your tongue gets stuck to it. Bad stuff happens to you. It sucks.
You're like, you essentially live on glass.
Yeah, you do.
Which is a phrase I haven't heard yet used to describe the desert, but it's obvious. Like,
Yeah.
glass is composed of sand, essentially.
Mhm.
And yes, I essentially live on a giant piece of glass. And I'm
Right.
surprised that it has extreme temperature.
Yeah. It's like yeah. It's weird.
And people say I'm smart. And people say I'm smart. Apparently, I am not.
Nah, man. It's you gotta be a weirdo to think about weird things differently. There's a lot of things that you think about. That I'm like, hey, man, I would never looked at it like that. Thank God you're crazy. It's like, oh, that's amazing. It's like, yeah,
Yes. But I'm not the only crazy motherfucker in Vegas now.
no.
We've been recently joined by another one,
Ooh, who?
an Irish one.
Ooh, Mr. McGregor.
I saw on Instagram that Connor's been running in the streets,
Oh,
which means that the PI will be closed for the next 2 weeks.
yes.
Or maybe not. And just in case, like I'm so used to talking to you,
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll use these little acronyms and assume that our tiny loyal audience is with us. But when I say PI, I'm referring to the UFC Performance Institute,
Right.
where we go train in the morning with the great and powerful Bo Sandoval and get our swole on. When really high profile people are in town, they'll shut down sections of the PI for their use.
Right.
So Conor McGregor is such a high profile human, and there's a very good chance that the PI will be closed down when he's using it. I've also been told that only really happens like later in the evenings, but we shall see.
Yeah.
So I would say that my chances of a Conor sighting are very, very low. Are very, very low.
Maybe, unless you want to buy a bike and start riding around Vegas and just happen to run into him while he's just jogging. It's not like he's gonna have a bunch of.
Oh, if I want to be a stalker?
Yeah, why not, dude? Shoot your shot. Be like, hey man, did you do XYZ right before your Aldo fight? It's like, I think you did, and he might give you the wink and the nod, like, yes, you're right, son. You're right, I did. How'd you know? And he'd be like,
let's discuss mushrooms and the Eddie Alvarez fight.
exactly. That's all you want to know. I have a lot of questions for you.
Like, I have some questions.
Yeah. So I just want to take 5 minutes of your day, sir.
No, I wouldn't waste my 5 seconds or 5 minutes on mushrooms and Eddie. We can get to that another day. But I'm really just making a joke. But in all actuality, I don't know how he rolls.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if because all right, so you could argue that Israel Adesanya is on a very similar trajectory in terms of where he is now at the time that he achieved getting the belt to where Conor was, right? Like they're
right.
doing a similar thing. And I met Izzy.
Yeah.
Didn't seem awkward or strange. Like there weren't a lot of people around him. I didn't have to fight through anybody. At the same time, I didn't meet Colby Covington, and he was a few feet away from me, but there were lots of people in between us, right? And I don't think that they weren't security guys. It was just the way that it was laid out, so they kind of functioned like that.
Yeah.
Like there's moments that like me and Casey function like that for Jess. We're not conscious of it, but because of where we're standing, we're just not encouraging motherfuckers to come over. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
like if I were on the other side of Jess, I would have much easier access to her. It's more likely that I would say hello. But like if you're on the opposite side where Casey and I are standing, you just feel like maybe I shouldn't go over there. Like this is a bad time. It was kind of like that with Colby. But it was like that every single time. Like whenever I saw him, there were like 3 dudes in between me and him.
Yeah.
But I'd have to be like, hi, excuse me, hi, excuse me, hi, excuse me, hi, Colby, I'm Darren, right? Like, and that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, unless you really want to say hi, you're probably not going to go through 3 channels to get a hello. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense.
And I don't know how Conor rolls though. Like Conor might roll in there with like 2 coaches and him, or he might roll in there with a whole camera crew from the Mac Life,
yeah,
a whole security detail. It could be either one of those options are reasonable.
Right. But it's like just roll the dice. Maybe he's alone. You just catch him jogging by. He's like, I get up early. Fuck the crew. Fuck the guards. I have to run. I have to beat this cowboy man. And he's just out there running. You just catch him. You offer him a glass of water. You offer him a bottle of water. He's like, yes, thank you. I was very thirsty. Thank you. He's like, do I know you? He's like, no. He's like, yes. Actually, you may have heard of me. Exactly. That's just how.
Oh my god.
Dude, I've had so many silly thoughts lately. Like,
Yes.
I think podcasting is bad for comedians. Like,
What do you mean?
comedians that want to be good at comedy, I think podcasting's bad.
Why?
Because, like, everything's out there already. It's like, there's no, like, the whole rule of comedy is, like, surprises.
Okay, so I don't think that they're really developing their material directly through podcasts for the most part. Like, I don't think they're trying out their jokes on their podcast. I think they're just getting better at talking and they're connecting to an audience. It's like an ad.
I agree, but if like it's like it's not even it's like sometimes it's very It's very obvious. Like you just see, like that was a bit. You just put it out there, and it's a bit that you're gonna use again. And like it's like we went to shows together, and I'm like, I've heard you say this on a show, and then you said it like you. All it was the timing was different, but the same bit was there. It was just different. You said it out there to your friends, and then you got validation from your friends without actually having to try it out
Right.
on stage.
And now it's a bit.
And now it's a bit. Or I've heard you say these, like, string together these thoughts, and it was funny in that moment, and then now that it's the same thought, but it's just a little bit more polished up, but it's still the same. It's still the same thing. It's like a lot of people burn their material unintentionally on podcasts, and I think it's one of those things where it's like if you want to be good at if you want to make money at stand-up, podcasting is the best thing in the world. But if you want to be one of the best, stand-ups in the world, you shouldn't have a podcast, or your podcast should be about something completely different from, like, it can't be about you. It has to be about something else.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you entirely.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
I think it would be a good idea to protect yourself from the possibility of cannibalizing your own shit.
Right.
Right. But I don't think you necessarily have to. And I think that you're right about the idea of, like, look, if you want to make money, you will get a bigger audience if you execute the podcast model well.
Right.
Right. I think that the stand-ups that are eating right now, most of them are eating because of their podcast audiences. But yes, there is the danger of cannibalizing your own material. And one way to protect yourself against it would be to make a podcast that had nothing to fucking do with comedy. Right? Where, in a sense, that's what Rogan has done over time. He still has comics on.
Yeah.
But the majority of his guests aren't directly linked to the comedy world anymore. And that can kind of protect him from going into bits and doing shit, all while having that stand-up comic license to kind of change the mood and make shit light. So, like, if I have you on and you're like, yeah, I climb mountains and my babies died, like, I can start making jokes because I'm a comedian.
Right.
Or if I were just a journalist, we'd have to stay in this darkness.
Right. It'd be tough. But, like, even for him though, it's still tough because it's not just like a part of him. Like, all his podcast is an amalgamation of him as a person. It's like all the things that he's interested in or things that excite him are there. So, like, you can see it all. And it's like, oh, I see where all these ideas are going. Like not to be rude. Like, I'm sure, like, I would never be good at stand up, but, like, watching him, like, do, like, comedy, like, at the store was like, oh, I see where your jokes are going because I know how you think, and I don't want to know how you think.
Okay, so I see that too. So you're saying it's even worse. Like, it's not that you're trying your bits and cannibalizing your material. It's that now I fucking understand you, and that ruins a little bit of the magic.
It ruins a lot of it because
I need to get to understanding you while I watch your stand up, and the fact that I've already kind of gotten to know you fucks up some of the vibe.
Yeah.
Like, you can see behind the curtain and shit.
Yeah, it's like I know how you think now, and it sucks. It's like it sucks. Like that was the beauty about going to Dave Chappelle is, like, literally, like, and it makes me mad because I saw the Mark Twain Award, like, interview with Sarah Silverman, and it fucked it up because she let some of the secret go of, like, Dave Chappelle. It's like it fucked it up after the fact. It's like, oh, like, she said, like, oh, this is how Dave thinks. I'm like, why would you say that? You just lost him money. You shouldn't have said that, even though it was a nice thing to say. You lost him money in that moment because we should not know how he thinks. We should never
watch that. So now I know to avoid it.
Yeah, avoid it. Like, we know how he thinks. It was like, oh, all his jokes make way more sense now about how he came up with them just because of that one thought. And I'm like, oh, that's
no way.
Yeah, it did. It really did. It was like literally. It was
down like that?
It was only a 3-minute clip. That's the thing. It was a 3-minute clip, and there was just one sentence that she said that was like, oh, this is how he sees the world. And I'm like, oh my god, why would you say that?
You're like, you fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Why don't you just tell little kids there's no Santa, you fucking
right,
whore?
Right, exactly. And it's just like, it was just like, oh my god, damn. And
I love Sarah Silverman though.
Yeah, she's a cool person.
No, like, that was my boo for a minute. Like, when Jesus is Magic came out, when that movie came out, that was my wife.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know how many times I've seen a movie more than once in a theater?
Not many.
Like, it's not something I do.
Yeah.
I saw Jesus is Magic in the fucking theater 4 times.
Oh.
In the fucking theater.
Hmm.
I went 4 times.
Hmm.
Twice
Hmm.
alone.
Twice alone.
Dude, bitch bad. But like, now I hate her. I don't hate her. I'm just mad at her.
Just don't watch. Just don't watch.
For ruining your Dave Chappelle experience.
Yeah. Well, no, it's fine. It's fine now, but it's gonna ruin like the idea of like, you know, it's like I don't want to know how you. I don't want to figure out how you think because that's the whole mystery of it. It should be. It's like, you know, it's like how I want to learn about new things from different people's perspective. Like the best part about you is that I can jump into your mind and I can jump out and I don't have to delve into all the nitty gritty details of how you see people as people. Like I know how it works. I don't need to. And that's the best part. But then when it comes to jiu-jitsu, it's like it's amazing. I don't understand anything how his mind works, so it makes it so much easier. I just understand the concepts he gives me, and that's it. But I don't need to follow the all the way to the roots. That's the fun part about it. Yeah, don't want to. Just I'll stay at the branches.
Yeah. Oh man, I see what you. That's a very good insight that I didn't have before this conversation about the relationship between podcasting and stand-up. Where like, I really hadn't linked it to. You can just see too deeply into the mind of the person talking.
Right.
Like on a timeline, especially with that Rogan format where it's like hours and hours on end.
Right.
If you're only going to talk to me for 30 minutes a week, I will get a sense of who you are. But you got another person in front of you too that's really like bouncing off shit, and like hopefully you're making the show about them. So maybe I don't get that much about you. Like maybe I don't. But if it's 3 hours and it's like 4 times a week,
yeah,
I can't avoid getting to know you. I'm gonna get to know you, and that does ruin some of the magic. It does.
Yeah. But there's also fun moments in it too. Like you get to like you have like theories that you have. Like I think I know this about you, and here's why. Like there was a thing with Joe Rogan where like he always got into really in like depth detail about feet. And I'm like, why the fuck does this dude keep talking about feet? He must either like feet or liked feet at one point in his life. And then at one point he's like, yeah, I was one girl that I used to like that she would put her feet in my face when she jerked me off, and I was like, I knew it. I knew it. And so like you get like that sense of victory. Yeah, so you get a sense of victory in that moment. Like I don't know you, but I know you. I'm like, it's like, hey, I knew it. I knew you like this weird stuff.
Do you think there are people who do not know us, right?
Yeah.
Who've stumbled upon the podcast, either audio wise or video wise, who now feel like they know us?
To some degree, yes. I feel like I think it happened more when you were in Cleveland, that there were people who never actually, like, I don't think who actually knew who you were or who knew of you, but they knew of you because of jiu-jitsu and they just saw you. They saw you existed. They didn't know you. And they assume that they know you now. Like there was that one guy who was talking about you gotta teach. I'll teach Darren how to smoke that blunt better. He's got XYZ. I don't think that guy.
Right.
I don't think that guy.
That was so weird. I was like, what the fuck?
I don't think that guy's ever met you. I don't think that guy knows you. He just said that. He's like, I just know that you work with this guy, and it was weird because I don't even know who this person is. I don't know nothing about him, but he knows me and he knows you, and it was weird. And just in that moment, he just said that to me. I was like, all right, cool, man. I gotta go do my tournament right now. I'll talk to you later.
Like real cool, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think that happens. Like I think we have like a couple people like that who just have like became fans. And we might not ever know them or never know that where they are, or where they live, or even if they know us. But I think there's like a few people who just have like noticed this podcast and it's like, oh, all right, I like it. I'm gonna keep listening to it, and it's just like, I think I know these people, and it's like they probably have a good insight into how we think as people.
I know, that's so strange.
It is.
Look, if you're out there and you don't know us personally, we've never met, and you feel like you've gained some insight on who we are, how we think, just shoot a comment that's like, I didn't know you, but I know you now. Comment that into either the fucking YouTube or the iTunes, and then Anthony will let me know who did this.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to look.
Yeah. I'll look for this episode.
You already know that if you're that person.
Yeah. No, that is very weird. All right, let's see. What else do we want to talk about today? Oh, we got to talk about Conor McGregor, obviously. All the, ups and downs, what do they say? Like all the possibilities everybody's like worried about. Like, what happens if Conor loses? what happens if Conor wins? Conor's going to be stepping in if Khabib or Tony, if one of them falls out. Blah XYZ. Blah 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 blah.
Did you see his little 8-minute thing he did for MacLife?
No.
It's just a real fast interview, but he gave a dense amount of information about what it seems like his plan is. So he basically said, look, I've recommitted myself to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm fighting. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at lightweight. I'm looking at welterweight. And I'm looking at this like it's a season. And right now, this is fight season. Like, this is the time for me to fight. And I'm going to fight 3 fights. And, like, he basically had a plan. And he's trying to beat up Donald and then stay ready because he doesn't think that fight at 55 for the belt with Khabib and Tony, he's not certain that's going to happen. Just like the rest of us aren't fucking certain it's going to happen. But we don't have any fucking horse in the race.
Right.
Right? We won't have any horse in the race. So if that fight doesn't happen, we'll be sitting wherever the fuck we were going to be sitting for that fight, watching a new fight.
Yeah.
Where if that fight doesn't happen, Conor can slot himself in there, depending on the outcome of this Donald Cerrone fight.
Correct.
Right? Which people could say is unfair. People could say that's Justin Gaethje's spot. And you're not wrong. You're just wrong.
Yeah.
Like, the spot belongs to whoever can draw the most money for the spot. That's who the spot belongs to.
Correct.
And, like, I would love to say that, like, MMA was a sport and MMA was based on meritocracy.
Oh.
But we are becoming a sport still. I don't believe we are a sport. Well, you made a face. Did we lose the feed?
No, it's just that I don't. No, you just said something to me that like resonated. That's like why PFL will never succeed.
Oh no! Did I just ruin it too?
No, you didn't ruin it. But
no,
but it makes sense though. you just said a
I'm
great.
just saying.
It's a great point. You made a great point.
We are still far too subjective to be a sport. We're far too subjective to be a sport, and we have a sport where right before the fucking athletes at the very top of the sport fight, the president of the fucking company comes in and he says, yo, don't leave it in the hands of the judges. The fucking president of the company says that. Right. Now think about how fucking profound that is. Think about how fucking profound that is. It's not that, okay, it's more exciting, it's more lucrative. Yeah, we get that. He's legit saying these motherfuckers don't know what they're doing and they can fuck your life up.
Right.
He's reminding you that the sport is not developed and that the only way to actually win is to finish because the sport is still too broken and underdeveloped to have judges that know what the fuck they are doing. So we're not a sport. So when people get mad, like, oh, this person deserves this person deserves that, based on these numbers, fuck your numbers. The number that matters is the game.
Yeah.
The number that matters is the fucking pay-per-view draw. Like, that's the number that matters. And if you can affect those numbers, you can affect change and you can affect your career. And if you can't, then you're at the whims of those who can.
Correct.
And that's the way it is. That's the way it is. It doesn't matter who you beat. It doesn't matter what number is next to your fucking name. If there's a number next to your name, and there's nobody who can draw money, who can jump ahead of you, then yeah, the number matters. But if Conor McGregor shows up at your girlfriend's house, the same way he's going to fuck your girlfriend is the same way that he's going to take that fucking title shot away from Justin Gaethje. That's the nature of life. It's the nature of everything. Don't be mad about it.
All right. It's true. And no, it's very true. And yeah, no, that was very profound. Because I was like, oh, that's the reason why PFL is never going to be successful with their format.
Now, break down what you're saying. What's going on with the PFL in your opinion?
Well, if you said it like this, if there's a structure in the PFL, right? Like you have the best top 10 guys, or however the brackets work. You have X amount of people in the bracket, right? You're doing it based on, oh, you won this fight, you win that fight, you move forward, you advance. So it's like you're trying to tell a story, but it's not really it doesn't necessarily have to be an exciting story. It could be a story of somebody who can do something, can do like a technique really well, and it can be very boring and not exciting. This person may not have any personality behind them. They may not draw any attention to that because there's this is a sport. This is prize fighting. You're fighting for a prize. Whoever can draw the most money gets the biggest prize. So if you are just being if you're being very structured about it, because like you said, there's no scoring, there's no points. In every other sport that is not a one-on-one combat sport, you have some way to score. There's a system to score.
Yeah.
There's a defined system. A touchdown, that's a point. Field goal, that's a point. 3-point, 2-point. Hockey, goal. Soccer, goal.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, home run, stealing bases, whatever. You have we can all agree that is,
Yeah.
that's how you score. That's how you
Yeah.
get a point.
How many points for an attempted rear naked choke?
Right,
How many points for a landed body kick?
right. It's like
We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
yeah, unless the people are robots, there's not enough data for you to gather just from your eyes. There's not enough data to gather from your eyes. Like, because you can't say, oh, he's generated X amount of force and this caused X amount of damage in his liver or whatever. You have to just be like, all right, that looked like a hard kick. Oh, that was clean the way he set it up. Now, those things are more obvious than other, but just having it in that's the reason why, there's no brackets for anything except wrestling, and wrestling doesn't make any money. There's no brackets for jiu-jitsu because there's brackets for jiu-jitsu, and that's why they don't make any money, because there's no like, all right, you definitely even with wrestling and jiu-jitsu, like, you have a scoring system, but even still, I think that's just a separate issue. Let's throw that out of that argument, because that's a separate issue of itself.
No, I follow what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because this is why Vince McMahon didn't want to buy the UFC.
Right.
Because you can't control the outcome.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult for you to use a bracketed format in the PFL and be successful, because you can't decide who's going to fucking win or how. So if a person advances without telling a story for themselves, either through their life or their actions, and they become your champion, you just handed $1 million fucking dollars to some corn-fed motherfucker who's never going to actually pour any money into your pocket.
Right.
And how long can you do that? Now, that is a problem. But if you have multiple weight classes, the chances of every single one of your person fucking you in the same way is remote. I think you can mitigate. Like, if you are doing one division, you're in deep shit.
Right.
So if it's open weight, if the PFL is one open weight division, you're in deep shit. But if you have lots of divisions, then you have lots of potential for somebody to be a breakthrough guy for you.
Right.
So I think you can mitigate some of that risk by having multiple divisions. So you have maybe a few stars, but you aren't wrong. You aren't wrong.
Yeah.
It's going to be a harder road for them, I think.
Yeah. Like, it sucks. And, like, you can get all the best dudes you want, but if nobody's, like, saying some cool stuff or saying something amazing, or better yet, doing wild stuff in the cage, then it doesn't really matter. It's like, oh, this person's a super dominant fighter. Oh, how do they win? They just, they hold them down, punch them out, and that's it. Like, you need some dudes running off the cage, throwing flying knees, throwing flying elbows, things that look wild that you can put on a
Tell
highlight.
me something exciting that Lance Palmer did in a fight.
All I saw was that counter. The single leg counter was the only thing that I saw exciting. When that dude tried to take him down and he did that body lock counter, I was like, oh, you can do that to people, and you can just pick people up like that? That works?
Okay, good. All right, that makes me happier.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do that.
I couldn't do that either. I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't know it was possible.
I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't know it was possible to find an exciting moment.
Oh. That was the only moment that I was like, whoa, I never knew.
I'm kidding.
Hey, man. Dude's got $2 million or, after taxes, whatever he's got.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be fine. But it's just funny, though. It is funny to say that. Like, yeah,
He
there's
can
no...
wipe his tears with his money.
Yeah, he's like, oh your insults hurt me.
Talking shit about me.
Your insults hurt me.
God.
Oh, man. I'm going to go back to my
From
campus.
his broke-ass bedroom.
Right.
Oh,
Gucci around me. It's hard. It's hard to see with this Gucci around me. Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
So silly. But, no.
What else is whack-a-lacking in the fucking combat streets?
Oh, well, we can talk about, let's see, USADA's, starting to test out the idea of doing oral testing for marijuana.
Now, this is particularly interesting to me, Anthony.
Yes.
As a new medical patient.
Yes.
As a person who just might be entering into international competition again.
There you go.
Who knows if I'll have to be tested?
Yeah.
Who knows? And if I have to be tested, I want to make sure I pass my motherfucking test. So, anything besides an oral test has Like, does it go back further essentially in like hours and like months wise?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you take hair, it goes back months.
I think
You take some pee, it goes back how long? Like shit like that,
so
right?
like pee goes back like I think it goes back up to like 4 weeks. Hair can go back several months. Nails can go back for years. Um, so with the oral swab, it kind of reduces it down to like, hey, did you take some in the last 6 to 8 hours? That's the idea. That's what they're trying.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the goal for it. So you
That's
can.
such an awesome way to test for recreational drugs.
Yeah.
Like the kinds of things that like would come back on a test and make you look like something you are not. Like say John Jones, when that test that should have been public at all got made public, and it was like he did cocaine.
Yeah.
Like if that's an oral test, maybe it didn't even test positive for that.
No, probably not. Probably not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like probably not. Probably not. So it's like I like that idea. I like the idea of have a test that actually does what you meant it to do.
Right.
Like the problem with the test, and this is what Navicki came out and said like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, is that the test is now too good.
Yeah.
Essentially, the test is so good that it detects things that it was not really intended to detect, and that's complicating the lives of people that it wasn't supposed to. Like, it's catching things that are so remote. Like this is that whole idea of nanograms,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's catching things that are so remote that there's no way it's actually impacting the performance of these athletes. There's no way that they're taking these things in a real consistent basis. This is like it was in a contaminated supplement. Well, the test shouldn't be so refined that we even know it was there. We should be able to catch athletes who are fucking doping. Like that's the goal of the test.
I agree with you.
The goal of the test is not to detect nanograms.
Right.
It's to detect cheating.
I agree, but you have to understand this. People love data. Data makes money. People want all that information. So like I don't think.
Look, if they like D, I can give them another kind.
I agree.
You don't need every single piece of data.
But see,
D hounds. You don't need every single piece.
Then weird, but funny stuff. So I think that John Jones stuff would have happened regardless. Even if he was like this test is like, oh, he didn't pass or fail or whatever it was. I think they would have been like, oh, we found this in the system. It would have still shown up. It just wouldn't have been like a red flag. Like if that stuff got leaked out and was like, hey, this is somebody leaked out John Jones reports and he looks like he did some cocaine. That still would have happened. He would have gotten suspended for it, like he didn't, and it would have still made news because it would have been like, oh, this guy is the baddest dude in the world, and he's just beating dudes while he's snorting lines. Like that's kind of cool. That's a cool story to say. And that's a cool story.
I like that story.
It is a good story. And like James Hardy, like you know what people did? They put the Rockets winning or his like average score, like average point score per game, based on the city's adult entertainment industry, like strip clubs and stuff like that. When he went to cities with like worse strip clubs, he did better in the game. But when he went to cities with better strip clubs, he did really bad during the game. So people were able to correlate. Yeah, so I'm saying. It's funny.
They're like, yo, this dude go out.
Yeah,
he get lit.
It's funny.
He sucks.
It's funny.
He fucking stays in the crib because there's no fucking hose out there. He's fucking benching.
Yeah,
he's running laps.
Exactly. Like it's funny. That's fun. It's fun. Like stuff like that's fun. And it's interesting. People always want to figure that stuff out. So I think that's always going to be there. That people will have the data of like, hey, this dude does like PCP when he's not working out, when he's not time to fight. But damn, this dude's been whooping a lot.
Don't be telling my business in the streets.
This dude be whooping hard on people. And
don't be talking about my PCP habit.
But on a
that was for the Pornhub audience. I was a little tuck.
On a serious note though, is that you still will be tested by the state athletic commission, and they may not utilize that drug testing, standard.
Yeah, that's a fucking confusing thing, honestly. Like having all these different governing bodies.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, if you go to a state and you do an MMA fight, you have the fucking governing body, the state, that can test you, and the organization has the right to test you depending on what their situation is and what you've signed. Right. So, for the UFC fighters, you get a USADA test.
Yeah.
And then you get an athletic commission test. And they have different fucking standards. And that's weird. That's just fucking weird.
It's weird, but it's good.
Like this is another thing that points out how like are we a fucking sport? Like, there's way too much subjectivity. Like, there should be one set of fucking rules. There should be one set of fucking rules. So there's a set of rules for the UFC, but there's a different set of rules in every fucking state in terms of their drug standards.
Yeah.
Different sets of rules in every fucking state.
So how does
That's madness.
How does it work for boxing?
I don't know.
Because don't they? I know they do have VADA testing sometimes, VADA testing, but they also have to go through a state athletic commission, right?
They do have to register with the state athletic commissions. I know that. I know that sometimes in these high level fights, the fighters will like commission WADA. They'll be like, "Yo, we want this testing." You know what I'm saying? They'll make it public that like, "Yo, we've asked this company to do the testing. We've asked WADA to test us." So that makes me feel like some of that is voluntary.
I also think some of
You know what I'm
that's.
saying?
I also think some of that's BS too, though, because it's like if you pass the state's drug test, are you doing this? I think that, you know what? I think we just kind of exposed something that might just be some BS. That might be some straight up bullshit. Like if me and you have a boxing fight and we're the champions of the world and we say we're gonna have WADA test us, who really cares? Because WADA's rule set does not affect like the state athletic commission's rule set. So does it really matter?
I think we're using that to crucify the other person in the court of public opinion if they do something that I deem is wrong, right? So it's like, this may not have any actual bearing on the fight, but if you whoop me and you test positive, I can always be like, but that motherfucker was on the juice.
Right.
So it just incentivizes you not to do it, right? It just makes it so that you're less likely to fucking cheat. Like, because I'll have this piece of paper that says you fucking cheated. But like, so? So? If I'm Canelo and I eat the meat, you know, and I get swole, and then I whoop you, and you're like, but you ate that beef. I'm gonna be like, yeah, it was delicious.
Well, I guess I don't know.
I'm kidding. But that is great news. Anytime that I think testing is moving toward almost non-existence, I think it's a good thing. So like when you're trying to find out what's happened in the last few hours, to me that means that you're trying to remove some of your relevance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think your way out the door is the best way you could go.
Yeah.
Like, just start walking toward the door. We start talking about hours, at least you put your shoes on.
Right.
Like, you know, like you're not ready to leave yet.
Yeah. I guess.
But at least you put your shoes on.
I guess another thing is that, like, you know, with USADA, it's helped save some fights to happen. I mean, honestly, it's only helped save one fight to happen. It hasn't really helped save anybody else's fight, which is very strange because, like, there's other instances where people, like for John Jones, for example, right? The Nanogram situation. That fight was allowed to proceed because, you know, John Jones, in USADA's eyes, yeah, makes money. So it's like, it's weird. Like, it's a weird gray area where it's helpful and it's hurtful. It's like, if you make money, we'll let you do this. And there was another fighter that had something similar where they tested positive for one thing in the state athletic commission, but USADA's like, no, you're cool, don't worry about it. But I think they still just sit through it, like there's that state's suspension time. So it's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It is. It's a dude. This is what I'm saying. Like, it's just not fully developed.
Yeah.
And like everybody wants to be all celebratory and be like 25 years and shit like that. Like, that's real cute. We're in year 27 now, and it's all real cute. We're still a baby of a sport. A baby of a sport. And even though it's an infant, people are trying to draw as much money from it as possible. They're literally trying to steal candy from this baby. They're literally stealing candy from a baby.
Right, they are.
Instead of trying to give the baby actual supplements and help the baby read, they're like, yeah, give me that Jolly Rancher. Before you die, because no one's really taking care of you. Oh, shit.
If you steal, I gotta respond to this, Mr. Matt Levy. If you steal home, that's a score. He's saying that stealing bases doesn't score in baseball. Like if you steal home plate, you win.
If you steal home plate, you score. But like, we're not playing baseball, Matt. I miss you, by the way. We're not playing baseball. You son of a bitch. Do you have weird news?
We do. We have one more MMA news. We can go through the
What's that?
The Joanna situation of her ups and downs of 2019. So
Okay.
she made a
So
post.
there's
Yeah, she made. I think she appeared on the UFC Unfiltered podcast, and basically she told people that she broke up, and then in the span of that year, she found out her manager was messed up her money. She found out she broke up with her fiance twice, like both right before or sometime in between the Rose Namajunas fights. Like I don't know if it was between the first one and the second one, but they happened during that year. And then the second time she broke up with him, she found out that her fiance was cheating on her with another chick. And then that chick messaged her, like, "Hey, don't beat me up. I'm sorry I sucked your boyfriend's dick, whatever," she said. But yeah, so like now she's saying that 2020 is her year. She's gonna knock out the Weili Zhang and hold the belt up March 7th. What do you think
okay.
about that?
So I feel both ways about this. I think sometimes it's not a good thing to put your business out in the street like that. Like that's very personal stuff.
Right.
Sometimes I think it's not good to do that. However, for some people, that kind of shit really weighs on them. Like that, like intimate, personal shit really weighs on them.
Yeah.
And keeping it in is damaging them. But like just saying it in a public forum and like putting it out there makes them feel like it has less weight. It creates a lightness in it that allows them to get back to their actual self and get them closer to who they really are. For someone like me, I don't do that. Like I don't put, like, even though we have this podcast and I put some of my personal shit out there for sure.
Yeah.
Like about my feelings and the way that I think, I don't involve like people don't know like the nature of my interpersonal relationships. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like I don't discuss that. You don't see on Instagram a lot of pictures of me with any individual, right? Which is why it's so easy to have speculation about me being gay and shit.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of shit out there with me with anybody. Like you wouldn't be able to say I was gay if I put out things with me with a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like it's shit like that. So like I'm not the kind of person to do that. I'd rather tell you struggles about like alcoholism or some shit like that, right? Than like, oh, this motherfucker cheated on me. Like, but if that's what's weighing on your heart and it's stopping you from being who you are, maybe saying that publicly is going to help her. And I don't know Joanna. So I don't know if it is going to help. I hope that since she made that choice that she's that kind of woman.
Yeah.
I hope that she needed to do that, because if she didn't, then all she did effectively was put a bunch of drama out there that people can make fun of her with, that other fighters who can talk shit about her, which apparently might be a way to get to her, can use. Now, I say talking shit might be a way to get to her because she talks shit.
Yeah.
And usually we mirror the things that bother us.
Correct.
Right? Like, I don't like stoic, scary people. So, right before a match, I get real stoic with these motherfuckers.
Hey.
You know?
Hey.
Because that freaks me out.
Right.
Like if you start yelling and talking shit, I feel confident. I'm like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Like, you're scared of me. Why would you do that if you weren't scared? But if you're quiet, I'm like, is that you gonna kill me?
Yeah.
Like, so I get quiet too. I'm like, yeah, I'm a fucking killer too.
Yeah.
Fucking kill you. Quiet as fuck. Fedor, nigga, like I'll kill you right now. So I assume that now that she's given these other women this ammunition, that somebody might use it against her. But it's not in the nature of her next opponents to do that. So I think she's safe from that. But we'll see, man. I've been a JJ Champion fan from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see her succeed. And yeah, I don't like seeing her lose. It was okay when it was Thug Rose because that was such a fun story.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see her beat up with like whatever the fuck, whatever her name is. I'd like to see her beat that lady up and get the belt back. But I'd also like to see her lose the belt again too, because she's experienced so much success that her legacy is already cemented.
Yeah.
And if she can get the belt back one more time, that puts her in this crazy echelon of like accomplishments. Like,
right.
Whenever you lose a belt and get it back, it's just more impressive.
Yeah.
You know? So that would make her a multiple-time champion in anyone's opinion. Like, sometimes when you hold the belt and you continue to hold it, people will give you, like, If I win the belt and then I beat you, some people would say I'm the 2-time champion, and some people would just say I'm champion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you lose the belt and you come back, now you're a 2-time champ.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
And that
solidified.
somehow, even though never losing you would think is more impressive, somehow that 2-time champ moniker is more impressive to us.
Yeah. It's
I want her to get that. So shout out to JJ Champion. I hope you made the right choice.
yes, some would say that she would be, if she won, she would be a cut above Ronda Rousey.
I mean, she already was.
Yeah.
Just keeping it real. She's a different level.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, man. Like Ronda had her run, and it must be respected.
Yeah.
She had her run.
She did. It happens. All right.
Give me that weirdness.
So
Take me to the weirdos.
bringing it back to, I will let go of the jokes today. Bring it back to your city, Cleveland. Cleveland police seeking serial public masturbator.
You see that flag?
Yeah.
I'll never be embarrassed. Tell me what my city did.
Cleveland police seeking serial public masturbator on the west side, near west side, but on the west side, yeah. So this dude has incidents so far in Columbus Avenue, West 58th, and Father Coso Drive, but people have only been able to get videos and pictures of this guy, and he does it late at night. But he's out there just like he's caught, like he's basically doing it like he's got the bent knees, he's on his toes, and he's going. It's like, would you like to see?
So he just fully committedly pulls his dick out and masturbates in the middle of public.
Yeah, he does that.
Don't show me the video.
There's no video. It's just a picture of him.
Well, that's the guy?
That's the guy, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's just out there like that. And it's the same jacket. It's always the same jacket.
It's got to be the same jacket.
Yeah, it's always the same jacket.
That's his masturbation jacket.
Yeah, that's his stance, though.
He can't even bust without that jacket on.
Where's my Abercrombie raincoat?
Just imagine when it goes into the cleaner, and he's like, fuck!
Maybe.
Can't even come.
Maybe that's how he gets
That
caught.
poor guy.
That's how he gets caught.
All right, so this man is at large.
He's at large.
Even if he's small, we don't know if he's big or small, but he's
from the size of the scrubbing.
Even he's at large.
He's at large, yeah.
Oh my god, why do I like that joke so much?
It's
I
funny.
really like that joke.
It's funny. It's a good joke.
I like his stance though.
His stance is like he's tilted, like he's getting ready to do like the Michael Jackson lean.
Knees bent.
Yeah.
It's a solid stance.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get locked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like imagine coming in public and then like you get a trolley horse.
Imagine
you're
got
hamstring,
stiff
you
legged.
Like pull a hammy.
Nah, you ever see
Look.
Hank Hill? You ever see the show Hank Hill, where they got the grandpa who's got my knees blown off in Vietnam, and he walks around stiff, just straight up. There's no bend in his knees at all. There's no bend in his legs at all. He just walks straight up. When he sits down, his legs go straight up. They go straight forward.
Dude, first of all, let's discuss the dangers of standing up and jerking off.
All right, let's go
Like-
for it.
Like I think this can be a dangerous activity.
Yeah.
I may have injured myself more than once
Mm.
while having standing orgasms. That's why I made the joke about my fucking hamstring. Like there was one time where I was making some content with a lady.
Yeah. All right.
And while I was making that content with this lady, she took the camera and she was like, I just want you to jerk off over me.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
So I removed the barrier that was on my dick, the condom,
Mm-hmm.
and I began to jerk off over her and the camera, right?
Yeah.
Upon completion,
Yeah.
there was a tremble in my leg that I was trying to get like control of muscularly, you know?
Yeah.
And it all went wrong. And so the next thing I know, I spent the next 3 days
Oh.
with a deep limp. Like I was fucked up. Like my hamstring all the way up my butt on my right side. It was all fucked up. So like imagine the injury this man is fucking risking by being out here in the streets.
I guess. I think there's only like really two ways to do it, because like you have to have like either like you have to do it like the way he's doing it, or you have to be leaning against a wall.
See, the wall is safer.
I think the wall is safer. I think that makes sense.
It's also probably more discreet.
Yeah, you could be like people could be thinking you're like just talking on the cell phone, whatever.
But like, he's just in the middle of the street
He's like,
getting it.
yeah. Somebody's like, I got a picture of him last night. I was like, all right, lady.
And the question is like, is this a mentally ill person overall, or is this a person who has like a sexual compulsion that has gone beyond their own control at this point? Like now you've become more and more dangerous. Like
I think he's mentally ill.
you could argue that this is like that these things progress.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That, like that now you're at a rate where like you're now in public exposing yourself. That one of the next things you could do is involve another person in public.
Right.
And so that's when things get real sketchy. And you are going late at night, so like maybe that does absolve you from some of the ideas of like the first thoughts of public stuff is like children.
Yeah.
Like the first thing you hear like when people are doing anything in public is like the children are going to see this. It's like, well, if it's 11:30 at night and your kid's walking in the street, maybe you're a bad mom.
It's not even, yeah, no, it's later than that. It's between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m.
You're the worst mom ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Your kids
you're
are out at
probably
the
a
bar.
crackhead if your
Yeah,
kids saw this.
your kids are at the bar.
So, like, you got bigger problems than like this dude's jerking off 50 feet from us, not even looking at us. Like,
Right.
how about stop smoking crack?
Yeah.
Stop selling your baby to the fucking dope man.
So
Like, that would be cool. But so he kind of absolves himself of that. So in a sense, if it's 2 a.m, what exactly is wrong with what you're doing? Like, it's inappropriate.
right.
Like, we've established like civility and there's a certain decorum that we
See,
kind of all
I had this
agree to.
conversation last night. I can give you an answer. There's no wet signs on the ground. Somebody could slip on it. They could hurt themselves. That's an accident waiting to happen. Better yet,
That is not.
he can be spreading diseases. You don't know. Animals may eat that up, and then next thing you know, AIDS epidemic is back again because birds are poop.
No,
You have
no.
no idea, man. I'm just letting you know. You don't know what could happen.
that is. I mean, you're right. I don't know what could happen. Someone could slip on a pile of cum and injure themselves.
right.
Like, that's,
You don't know. You don't know. It could be an accident waiting to happen. It's a lawsuit. And who are you gonna sue?
but the only thing that's wrong with it is that it breaks the laws of civility.
Yes.
It breaks the laws that we've all agreed to. We all agreed that we're not pulling our dicks out on street corners. We've all agreed to this. And if you disagree with that, then you're saying that maybe you disagree with other shit. Like, you don't care about our rules. You care more about your dick. So where does that line stop? And the fact that we don't know where that line stops means that we're going to have to stop you.
You know what?
That's what's wrong.
I think I figured it out. I'm gonna show you this picture again. I definitely think he's mentally ill. I also think he looks like Matt Mitrione. So shout out to him because look at
You're
this.
like, and when was the last time you saw him?
Yeah, exactly. Like this. Like I think look at this. Look at that profile right there. That's definitely Matt Mitrione shape. That's a very right there. That's definitely the same shape. I'm like, that's a Matt Mitrione shape. I also think he's mentally ill because of the same outfit. Like the same outfit. Like it doesn't look like he's wearing. It's like the same outfit. It's all in well lit places. It's not like even in like dark places. It's like it's.
See, I think that might be part of the fetish idea.
You think so?
Yeah.
Like you want to be
Like,
caught.
I think the clothing being consistent and the fact that you have to be in a lit area, I think those are probably things that have to be present for him to even be able to do this. Like it's likely.
Right.
It's likely that like when he was jerking off in his house, like near the window, he was probably wearing that same thing.
That's possible. I also think it could be like a one outfit kind of deal. Like how mentally ill people
Like
have.
he
like-
only has the one.
Like not even that. It's like that's my jacket. Like that's my jacket.
Could be.
It could also not be mutually exclusive. He could be mentally ill and have a fetish.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
that's-
also true.
that's
They
all.
could be compounding factors.
It is. All right. I think we talked enough about this
Compounding.
jerking off.
Compounding
Yeah.
factors.
The
Come on,
puns.
people.
The puns.
That's a gem.
The puns.
Compounding factors. You motherfuckers.
Let's see. Who is this lady?
You don't even deserve that one.
So silly.
Give me one more, and then I gotta go.
All right. So remember Becky from Full House?
Yes.
Yes. So she's now basically living the real life version of. Have you ever seen the movie Get Hard with Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart, or have you heard of the idea of it?
No.
All right. So the idea of it is this guy commits he gets set up for committing some finance crime, right? So he hires Kevin Hart to teach him what jail is gonna be like before like he goes to jail. So,
Okay.
so that's what Laura Loughlin, or whatever how you know how to pronounce her name, hires a prison expert to help her learn the ropes if she has to serve time. So she's like, preparing for all possibilities right now. She's not.
Is it a black lady?
I don't know. They haven't said who it was or whatever it is. I really want it to be
Like
that.
if it's like a former corrections officer, it's like some scary white dude
Yeah.
who's like old now and has seen it all. Like that would be one thing, and it's still funny. But if she hired like fucking I don't know Shaniqua from the block to like teach her what was going down inside the fucking prison, that would be the funniest shit of all time. Just some girl would be like, "Look, bitch,
Exactly.
you can't be doing your hair all pretty like that. Them dykes gonna fucking rape you."
Like I think that's the best thing ever.
That shit would be amazing.
That's what
But if it's just some scary corrections officer who's like, "Look, there's some dangers, but we can keep you safe in there if you do the following things." You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so. I think it's. I think. I don't. I think. I'm really hoping it's like. I don't know. I wonder if there is like. Is there a service where like I really want this to be real? I want this to be like a real life version of that movie where it's like they're like telling you, all right, you gotta learn about keistering. What's keistering? It's like, all right, this is what you gotta do. Like this is what you gotta.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I want it to be
Like teach her how to be a fucking good thug.
she starts braiding her hair. It's like I gotta keep it short.
She's like, and this is how you talk now.
Yeah.
And your name is L.
Yeah. This is what you can't be doing. You can't be signing.
So that's what motherfuckers gotta call you.
Yeah, you can't be signing autographs. See, but then this is the other thing too. This is where it gets into your mind. It's like, how many girls do you think like that are in there that are lesbians have jerked off to her when she was a child, or when
Lots.
lots. It's like now you're here. It's like my dream come true. It's like, oh man,
Lots.
hopefully, but
Everybody's gonna want that on their face.
this is my thought though. This is my thought. Like, don't you go to like rich people prison? Don't you? Why would you be worried about going to regular people? Maybe she didn't. Maybe she didn't. She didn't
I don't know. Sometimes they put you in what they call Gen Pop,
Yeah.
and sometimes you're a celebrity, and because of that, you actually get put in solitary fucking confinement, which is fucked up and weird.
But they also have like the blue collar. They also have like the white collar crime, like jails too, where you get less like.
They do.
But I don't think she's gonna count for that because I think she only did like 500,000. If she put him like a couple million, like a little bit more than a couple million.
She didn't do enough.
Yeah,
She should have gone harder.
I think she should. If we put like to 2 or 3 million in there, I think you automatically go to like, rich people prison, and you get like it's kind of like it's nice. Like you saw in The Sopranos, like you can cook your own meals. You got TV. You be hanging out. You got carpet.
Look, she just needs to watch Orange is the New Black and decide what character to be, and
Oh,
then just
man.
go be that character.
Oh my god. She goes in there and just starts shanking people. Just starts losing her mind, just putting people down. Or she's too old to get pregnant. She should try to have sex with a guard.
Be like, look, when you get in there, you gotta realize you are now a part of the Aryan Brotherhood.
Right. Like what do you like? Yeah, it's
You
like
might not be a racist today, Miss Loughlin, or may I say, Madam L,
Madam L.
but you about to be one tomorrow.
Right.
When they put them motherfucking oranges and them shackles on your ass, you're gonna become very white. She gonna come out of jail with a swastika on her face. Like,
Oh my god, like that would be hilarious. Like,
look, she had to survive.
yeah. But this is her last ditch
Don't judge
effort. It's not like she's saying this is like I'm not like accepting that I'm going to jail. So don't worry, I'm gonna mount a vigorous defensive case. But she's saying I got worst case scenario, I gotta be prepared for it, right?
She
That's what
she
she
didn't
said.
watch that movie 25th Hour. She
25th.
should get beat up before she goes in. Like, you know what? You're gonna have to beat me up before I go in. You know what I'm saying? Make sure I don't get raped.
That's so silly. Does that help?
That's for a fucking prison person to do. That's for Shaniqua. Shaniqua's gonna like,
Does that
fucking
help?
beat her ass before they put her away.
Does that help you? Does that make it better for you?
I don't know. I saw it in the movie. I've never been to prison, Anthony.
I would think that would make. I think that would make it like, oh man, it means you don't fight well. It means you're gonna take it easier. It means I can take it from you easier. I think so. You're not gonna win. I think that's what it sounds like to me. You should come in with like one bruise, but like have bruised up knuckles. Just have
Fucked up hands.
Yeah, fucked
and
up-
like a cut lip.
cut lip. That's exactly what it is. It's like what happened. It's like my daughter didn't want to go to the college that I snuck her into, so I had to beat the shit out of her before I left to let her know.
You like you sit down. The first time somebody comes up to you, you show them your knuckles, and you go, "Plus, I have AIDS."
Plus, I have AIDS.
So you can either get these hands or you can get this here. It's up to you.
There's so many thoughts that I think people would do. Like some people would probably just poop themselves. It's like I just better poop myself so nobody can touch me. If I could poop myself, nobody's gonna touch me. So many things you could do.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Anthony,
Yes,
we took it down a dark path,
we did. We got really dark.
and that makes me happy.
Yes.
Like I was happy when we started, and I'm happier now that we're done.
Awesome.
Episode 227. Shout out to 227. Shout out to Jack Hay.
Ooh.
Shout out to a fucking TV show from the early 90s and late 80s that you can only find on some random black network. Not even BET. One of the sub-black networks like TV One. They're gonna you gotta go deep.
Deep. Deep.
To find that 227 when Jack Hay was the hottest chick on TV. Anthony,
Yes.
this is goodbye for real. I fuck with you the long way, and I will talk to you soon.
All right.
Internet, I will talk to you later. Goodbye.